November 1974. Two young boys, 11-year-old Thomas Spence and 13-year-old John Rogers, are waiting at a busy bus stop on the Falls Road in Belfast. They never get on the bus. They never arrive at school. They simply vanish without a trace. 5 years earlier, within a few miles of that exact spot, two other boys, David Leckey and Jonathan Aven, also disappeared. And in 1973, 10-year-old Brian McDermott went missing, only for his dismembered remains to be found in a nearby river. 5 vulnerable children, all taken from the same small radius. To understand how baffling this is, you have to look at the environment they were living in. This is 1970s Belfast, during the height of the Troubles. The streets are heavily militarized. British soldiers patrol residential neighborhoods, and intelligence networks monitor daily life. Neighbors know each other, and strangers stick out immediately. In a city locked down by sectarian conflict, where checkpoints line the roads and every movement is scrutinized, it is virtually impossible to travel unnoticed. Yet 5 children were swallowed up by these hyper-surveilled streets. When desperate mothers begged for help, the state's response was silence. Official missing persons files were mysteriously lost or entirely destroyed by the police. Families were fed misleading information about fake sightings, and subsequent investigations were stonewalled at every level. In a war zone where nothing goes unrecorded, losing 5 children and deliberately destroying their police records requires significant effort. The total absence of a state investigation reveals an intentional blind spot carved out by the state itself. When a society fractures into armed conflict, the normal rules of behavior disintegrate. The chaos of bombings and riots provided perfect camouflage for violent predators who suddenly found themselves accepted, even elevated, within their own communities. The geographic center of this abuse was the Kincora Boys' Home in East Belfast. It was run by high-ranking loyalist paramilitaries like William McGrath and Alan Campbell. These men were known abusers, yet they operated a sprawling pedophile network directly out of a state-funded institution. The authorities knew about it. Army intelligence officers like Colin Wallace were intercepting constant rumors on the ground. They gathered credible intelligence linking the paramilitaries at Kincora directly to the missing and murdered boys from the surrounding neighborhoods. But instead of moving in to dismantle the ring and rescue the children, the state shut the investigation down. Wallace was forced out of his position. The intelligence files linking the predators to the missing boys were systematically destroyed by his superiors. It took a full decade and a relentless independent press investigation in 1980 to finally expose the horrors of Kincora to the public. Meanwhile, the British intelligence agencies had been fully aware of the abuse the entire time. The government's failure to intervene was a calculated decision. They deliberately shielded the Kincora network from local police to protect a deeply compromised asset. This protection was a core tactic of the Dirty War. British counterintelligence, operating in the shadows, was tasked with dismantling terrorist organizations by any means necessary, turning the conflict into a ruthless transactional game. This flowchart maps out exactly how that transaction worked. Intelligence agencies actively sought out individuals with dark, compromising secrets, like the abusers at Kincora. By catching a paramilitary leader committing horrific crimes, MI5 gained the ultimate leverage to recruit them as an informant. In exchange for crucial intelligence on their fellow terrorists, these men were granted total immunity. As long as they kept feeding information to the state, British intelligence erected an invisible barrier around them, actively blocking local police from investigating their crimes against children. The handlers faced a cold calculation. They let violent predators roam free in Belfast, knowing exactly what they were doing to young boys, because the intelligence they provided was deemed too valuable to lose. The destroyed police files, the silenced whistleblowers, the families left wandering the streets looking for their sons. This was the accepted collateral damage of a state intelligence apparatus prioritizing its war effort over the lives of innocent children. Today, the violence of the Troubles has largely faded. The streets are quiet, and peace agreements hold the region together. But the institutional secrets from that era remain firmly locked away, shielded by the very government that brokered the peace. Even when modern, independent inquiries were established to investigate historical institutional abuse, the state refused to cooperate. MI5 declined to face cross-examination, and recent Freedom of Information requests revealed they were still destroying relevant historical documents long after the inquiry began. To this day, the intelligence community quietly defends these actions through a single, unyielding philosophy. They were fighting a war to prevent mass casualties, and to win that war, the ends justified the means. That sterile military logic might make sense in a classified briefing room in London. It means absolutely nothing to the desperate mothers in Belfast, who spent decades walking the streets in the rain, calling out the names of children who were never coming home. The peace Northern Ireland enjoys today carries an unacknowledged moral cost. 5 young boys vanished into the machinery of a dirty war, and until the state opens its archives and tells the truth about what happened to them, true justice remains entirely out of reach.